Listen up, y'all. The year is 2024, and for me, that means that the once-in-a-lifetime, highly anticipated event has come. And just like that, it's gone already. That's right. We're talking about my 10-year high school reunion. Now, you guys don't understand. This is something that has been mentioned to me at least 100 times in the last 10 years. This has been a constant joke between my mom, my dad, and I, just wondering what car I was going to pull up in to my high school reunion, because I've been collecting cars that I think are cool since I graduated high school. But anyways, that's just been like the ongoing running joke. But anyways, my reunion was this past weekend, and I got to thinking, like, this is kind of a once-in-a-lifetime experience that I feel like everyone comes across at some point, except for those of you that graduated in 2010. Rest in peace to your 10-year reunion. But again, like I said, everyone's got expectations of what it's going to be like, whether you go or whether you don't go. And I think that everybody thinks about it at least once. It has to cross your mind. So let me just say, I don't know exactly what I was expecting, but I'll tell you what, it definitely was not this. So anyways, a little dream came true for me really quick. I pulled up my little C7 Corvette, and that's where the fun began, but not necessarily for me. You're tuning into URL versus IRL, hosted by Bree Lynch. Okay, I'm back here with my two favorite people. Guess who it is?
It's Josh.
And Ryan, baby.
We're back in the clubhouse today. I'm so excited because mostly I dragged the two of these guys with me to the reunion because neither one of them was interested in going in the beginning.
She dragged us to our 10-year high school reunion.
You know, it was towards the end. It was drag. Like, I was in the beginning. There were things that happened. We'll talk about it, but I wasn't going and kicking and screaming.
I feel that.
For sure.
I feel that. I think that we all had our own reasons for like wanting to go and not wanting to go. Yeah. I definitely wanted to go the entire time. I've been wanting to go for like 10 years. And now that I went, I'm not sure that I'm so stoked that I went, to be honest with you. I think both of you had a little bit of a better time than I did. But we'll get into that.
That's great. Like, just before we do go in, that's crazy. We haven't talked about it at all.
No,
really.
we have not.
So, like, this is fully, for anyone listening, we didn't prepare a conversation. I made a shocked face when Bree just said that.
Like, I've been looking across kind of shocked because I'm like, wait, like, me and you haven't even communicated this either, that you literally didn't enjoy it as much as, like, we enjoyed it. And, like, honest to God, like, I would really say 50-50. Ryan and I were not stoked.
Stoked to go.
Day of definitely was not stoked, for sure.
Days before and day of not stoked. I mean, Bree bought my ticket because like I was so adamant about not going because I just didn't want to go. I didn't really care to go.
I was like, we're going no matter what. But anyways, before we get into the whole reunion talk, like I said, you guys, I like Ryan and Josh just said, I did not speak to either one of them about the reunion, which is hilarious because Josh and I live together and we literally didn't even talk about it. But I was trying to save it for the podcast. You know, I'm trying to keep it organic here, try to keep it 100.
She's trying to be secretive.
Trying to be real.
I don't like it, chat.
No, that's not true. Shut up. I'm trying to keep this in as much in real life as I possibly can.
I don't like it, chat. F's in the chat.
You know what's so funny is even our friend Mackenzie, who helped organize the reunion, she was asking me, she and I took our dogs on a walk the other day, and she was asking me like how I enjoyed the experience and blah, blah, blah. And I literally tried to ask her so many questions about how she enjoyed it because I was trying so hard not to talk about it until I got onto the podcast.
Oh, wow.
That's how dedicated I was.
Wow. You were like in it.
I was so top secret. Locked in.
She was locked in.
They're making fun of me because before we actually started this recording, we did like a little test recording or whatever, and Josh opened my laptop to start running Ableton, and my chat, like my iMessage chat, was just popping off. I was like, who's got their phone on? Ryan was like, it's your laptop, dummy.
She said, she's like, let me lock my phone in. I was like, yeah, your phone's not locked in. What?
Well, that's because, okay, listen, I don't know if anybody uses the focus modes on their iPhones, but let me tell you what, they are so helpful in my personal opinion. I made a personal, like, focus mode on my iPhone that's called Locked In, and I use it whenever I'm like working out or I'm podcasting or editing and I really don't want distractions because I don't like Do Not Disturb. Like when people have their Do Not Disturb on in the middle of the day, I'm like, I'm gonna notify you anyway. I don't care.
I mean, not that this episode is about technology by any means, but I don't really get bothered by that anymore. Like if I see people's phones, I don't see it too often. I think you and maybe one other person I know, I can't think of who they are off at the top of my head, but like they're the only ones I know that use the actual Do Not Disturb function. And when I see that, I'm like,
I love it.
I'm like, maybe maybe they're busy. And like, I don't actually think to myself, I'm like, I should probably text them during this time. And then I hate that like Do Not Disturb has the notify anyway like option. It's like, isn't the whole point of Do Not Disturb to just not disturb me or just like not?
I mean, yeah, but sometimes I got to notify you anyway.
Yeah, I guess. I know that sometimes it can be important. But anyways, let's dive back into what we were talking about.
Ryan's like, can't really, I have an Android.
Right.
Yeah, and I just another reason why.
User.
It's just another reason why I don't think I like Apple, because that's so abrasive. Like,
How so?
notify anyway?
I mean,
Yeah.
if it's an emergency.
I'm literally like, hey, fam, don't talk to me right now.
Yeah.
I'm on Do Not Disturb. And
Yeah.
Apple's like, except for now. Except for
You
this.
gonna listen today, boy.
Well, you know what? Some people just like inherently leave their phone on Do Not Disturb all the time. I'm like, how do you function like that?
Yeah, it does. I like. I'm not someone who, we talked about this in the last episode, like that we did together. That like, I don't want to seem like I have ownership over anyone's time or space just because we're connected by technology. But at the same time, it's true. It's 3:00 in the afternoon. Like, why
you
are you on Do Not
on?
Disturb?
Right. Like, I'm like, what are you doing in the middle of the day that's so important? For me, it's
They're
podcasting. But like,
probably at work. Come on.
I mean,
now.
I guess, but who cares about being disturbed
Yeah.
at work?
That's what I'm saying. I text. I mean, like, I text at work all the time.
I mean,
Like,
when I was in the military, I cared about being disturbed at work because I was like, I'm busy.
Good for you. I only care if I'm
but
like
just
in the
put
middle
that thing
of.
on silent.
You're right. I
True.
mean, I did. It
that's
was on
what I do.
vibrate.
Well, you know what happens to me is even if my phone's on silent, if I see a notification and I'm doing something on my phone, like when I'm trying to prep for the podcast or like whatever,
Right.
then I'll see the notification. I text that person back, and then I get distracted, and then suddenly I've been on my phone for 45 minutes.
Now, I don't want to delve too deep into this, but like, I know my phone has this where you can turn off notifications for like an allotted amount of time.
That's what the focus mode is.
Oh, okay.
So you can do it for a certain period of
I actually
time.
think that's what they call it on mine as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Focus time. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like you
So
can
just do
set
that.
it for
Do Not
certain.
Disturb is so crazy.
Yeah, you can set it for like certain times of the day, or you can turn it on and off manually. So for me, I literally do it like when I'm working out, if I'm in therapy, or like if I'm doing the podcast or editing. Maybe
I should do that for therapy.
Yeah, it's helpful.
It'd be pretty smart.
Should we get back on track?
We should get back on track. I know. We were monologuing again,
No,
the way
it's
we always
fine.
do. But it's great to have this nice little banter about something that's totally off topic.
To bring us back, though, I actually am so much more excited now that we're
That I had
here.
a bad time. No,
No, that we're here.
Yeah.
And that I truly just realized almost a week later that I have no idea how the night went for you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Maybe I'll start it for us. Like, we were together in the very beginning, in
Yeah.
the awkward stage.
And then we split.
Well, no, then Josh
Josh
was like a local celebrity at this
He
thing.
really
like,
was.
Everybody
No,
wanted to talk to
I
Josh. I
wasn't.
swear to God. For
No, I
For the
wasn't.
person on the scale of who wanted to go and who didn't want to go the most, he was on the I don't want to
lowest
fucking go the
end.
most.
Yeah,
This is gonna
yeah,
suck.
absolutely.
And he ended up like I said, he was off and about, and then we were kind of together.
Yes.
And then we all split.
Yeah.
And then me and you came back together, and then we got back with Josh
We
a couple of
finally
times.
found Josh,
But
yeah.
like, it was really just like it was a rotating thing between like me being next to you and then me separating and then me being next to you again.
Yep.
Bree specifically.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's paint a little bit of a picture for the audience. Why
Yeah,
don't we?
go for it.
So we all know that we all graduated in 2014. We graduated from the same high school, had the same mascot. We have a little falcon with us here today, by the way. I don't know if you guys knew this or not. Probably not, because I don't do video on this podcast. I have Squishmallow plushies at every single podcast recording that we use. I have Miffy the rabbit. Josh is like nodding his head in silence with his eyes
Yep,
closed.
Miffy the rabbit.
I have Miffy the rabbit, and then I also have Jade the avocado, and they are like our little mascots. That kind of will give you an idea of why we have the URL versus IRL artwork that we do have. That's Miffy and Jade, by the way. So anyway, we have a little falcon mascot here today that apparently neither one of you got when we graduated high school.
No, because I didn't go to project graduation.
Yeah.
That's where
I
you said
also
you got
did
it.
not go to project graduation.
Yeah, so
Ryan
got
and I
the-
were too cool. We were too cool for it.
I know.
No,
we're going to talk about that.
No, I told you guys why I didn't go, but if we'll talk about it later, then we'll talk about it
Totally.
later.
Yes.
But there was a
Totally.
reason why I didn't go.
So anyway, so we have our little high school mascot here with us today, just for the vibes. Okay, so let's start this off a little bit since our audience doesn't know much about us. Why don't we all just like summarize our high school experience? Like, let's paint a picture for the audience. Josh, do you want to go first? Because you, like we said, were like the local celebrity at this thing.
Well, I wouldn't call it that, but
I would.
No. My high school career was very finicky because I moved around a lot growing up. I went to 3 different middle schools. I went to all 3 of those schools for my 6th, 7th, and 8th grade middle school year. And then in my freshman and sophomore year of high school, I went to Rancocas Valley High School, and then after that, I left at the end of sophomore year. And junior year of high school, I went back to my roots and finished junior and senior year with Bree and Ryan. High school for me was very interesting. I went to a completely different high school with so much more kids and just a lot more people there, whether they were into sports or clubs or, like, for me, ROTC. I did ROTC for 2 years. Which
I didn't know that.
Yeah. RV had a Navy ROTC, which, like, I think in any high school, if you're a part of an ROTC, you're probably not the coolest cream of the crop. I'm gonna be completely honest. I mean, in most schools, like specifically RV, they made us wear uniforms every Wednesday, and we still had to cut our hair like similarly, like as if we were in the military. So, like, I wasn't allowed to grow like severe facial hair unless I wanted to grow a mustache, like I was literally in the fucking Navy.
But didn't you have long hair? Your hair was cut?
My hair was cut in my freshman and sophomore year of high school.
So when you got to us,
when I got to you guys, I was growing my hair through the summer, and then by the time we went to school in junior year, my hair probably got so long that I used to straighten it every day. Actually, do you remember that?
I mean, I wouldn't have particularly noticed that, but I do remember you having long, like straighter hair for sure.
I remember because I taught you what heat protectant was.
Yeah, Bree taught me what heat protectant was.
That's so funny.
In our last episode, we talked about how Bree and I knew each other since like elementary school and semi-middle school, and then we dated, like, quote unquote dated in that time in our early elementary, and then in high school in our junior year we dated again, we broke up, and then we got back together as adults 10 years later,
and now we're together forever,
and now we're
to the grave,
and now we're together forever, and we're going to talk about our high school reunion 10 years later. But anyways, so yeah, high school for me was cool. I mean, I say it was cool, but like I definitely for some reason felt more of like an outcast. I think I don't give myself enough credit that, like, I actually genuinely might have seemed like I was friends with more people within all the different cliques and everything like that went on in high school.
I guess I'll go next. So for me, I will
Sorry
say...
to make that, like, awkward silence into you talking next.
No, that's okay. I wasn't sure if Bree was going to go, but basically for me, I will say it seems like on the outset, my high school experience seems like the most plain Jane of the 3 of us. So, I mean, obviously everyone has their own unique experience, but like I was in, minus kindergarten, I was in the same district from 1st to 12th. So,
damn.
Yeah, like I did it the whole way, like basically the whole way minus kindergarten. And technically, we moved in 2001.
Okay.
In August of 2001, right before 9/11, actually, which is kind of a crazy time to like move into a new place.
Yeah.
But I started in the 1st grade.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, I was just super shy and like super, super like quiet. And then I had a teacher that yelled at me because I didn't have the right crayons. I was very it was wild. I was just very quiet and very shy. So it was hard. And we had something that I don't think they offer any longer at in our elementary system back in our hometown, but it was called Pre-First, and it was for like a broad spectrum of kids. Like it was for kids with like physical, developmental disabilities, and like I didn't have any of that.
Okay.
I didn't have any of that stuff, and neither did a lot of the kids in the class. But it was designed for like students who just weren't quite ready, whether it was socially or academically. And mine was more on the social side for the 1st grade.
Oh, okay.
So that's why, I mean, you're older than you guys, but we graduated together.
It makes a lot more sense.
So that's that's the only reason I bring this up is because that was the one like unique little, thing in my journey K through 12. But so that's why. So really, I still did like 13 years of public ed in our hometown. But that's kind of in terms of the path. It was pretty straight line, unlike you guys, where you guys came from different places. fast forwarding to middle school, the first half of middle school, it was like super, a lot of seclusion, a lot of trying to figure out where the friends are, leaving certain groups because of things that we had in common, like living near each other and playing sports, and finding groups of people that were more suited to like my personality and people I actually wanted to spend time with.
Gotcha.
So then by the end of middle school, like there was a transition time. Like in the beginning, it was friends were in and out, but barely there, and I didn't know what I wanted, and I didn't know. And people start doing things, and you have to make choices whether you want to do that stuff with them. You know, like whether it's smoking cigarettes or like going or being out too late or sneaking out and I always kind of made the choice of like I'm not going to do that. So it kind of took me away from certain groups that I started with, and then transitioned me into the friends that I ended up meeting by the end of middle school, who are now still my friends to this day.
Right.
And I will say there was a point in middle school where not just mentally, but physically, I had to find my voice, and I'll explain that. So from like basically all of 7th grade, I had like no voice. Like if the room was loud, you weren't hearing me. Like for some reason, for like a year and change, like I always talk like
were you like an introvert, or
no,
are you
no,
speaking like physically?
No, he's saying his physical voice.
Physically was the first stage. Was like I literally couldn't talk in a loud room.
Wow.
So like I say that to my friends all the time. Like thanks for staying friends with me, because I literally was a mute. Because I just gave up after a while. Like didn't volunteer in class. And I didn't know what was going on with me.
Interesting.
And like I was kind of gaslit sometimes to be like, oh no, like you'll figure it out. And like I guess it wasn't gaslit because it ended up working out, but it took a really long time.
Yeah, that's kind of a scary thing to develop as a child.
I was like, am I ever going to be able to talk to people in a room that's more than a library?
When you're a child, you like freak out about those things, and like you don't even think like anything like that could happen to you, but then like it does, and then you're like, is this ever going to end? Like that's kind of scary.
And it was annoying too, because I started before middle school, like in the 5th grade, I like found my voice. Like as like emotionally, I was starting to develop into the person I was going to eventually be. Dude. And then I go into 6th grade and I'm kind of like, yeah, this is cool. And then 7th grade, it's like, we're going to stunt all of that. And you're going to go back to just being quiet all the time. I got out of doing a public speaking presentation in my English class in 7th grade because I literally couldn't. Like the teacher thought I was sick. Like it was crazy.
What?
But anyway, so going into 8th grade, that got figured out.
Oh,
so then,
cool.
So then that confidence that I got in the 5th grade finally into 6th grade started to come back, and that goes to the mental part. So like physically found my voice again, was able to then mentally find my identity, and then going into high school, it was interesting. I definitely would call myself like an in-betweener. I like what Josh said. Like I definitely had people in all of the groups. And I think I was generally liked. Like I don't think anybody would be like, that guy is a douchebag. Like I flew under the radar. Like, I think the kids who were like more, I don't know, like what you would call mean or like nasty, like kind of left me alone.
Yeah.
Generally, I just was kind of an in-betweener. I had my friend group, which I learned later, our group was known. Like it was like, oh yeah, it's those guys. Like I didn't actually think our group, because my friends, they were even more quiet than me. But apparently we were like, oh yeah, that's those guys. But then I had like very regular trials and tribulations. Nothing crazy, thank God, because obviously a lot of other people do have a lot of stuff going on during those high school years. I think like it was the first time I like faced, like general rejection, like getting like crushing on someone and realizing that they like someone else, and like all these other cool high school things. And then there were a couple of like more serious things. I think that was like the first time like I experienced like true depression. Not like, oh my God, my crush doesn't like me, but no, but like beyond that, like I think I like that's when like mental health started to be a thing in my world. We come from a time that growing up in the early 2000s when that stuff was, not that our parents specifically said this, but parents were telling their kids that like, if you go to therapy, you're crazy, or like if you're depressed, you just need to, smile more. Like all of the things that are so frowned upon now.
We love the boomers.
Yeah, they're literally the worst. But so like and that was kind of high school for me. Like I was learning so much about what like reality versus what we were told. Yeah, that was kind of my experience. Just a lot of ups and downs, and me learning a lot because I didn't have to deal with a lot of the other stuff that a lot of my classmates were going through. I had a relatively clean path, like not really bullying, like, it was a lot of normal high school stuff, like had my first like had my first kiss and had my first girlfriend and like had my first breakup, but like nothing that really sent me into like a dark or scary place or even like an overly happy place. I was just kind of I was vibing for 4 years. I had my friend group. I played sports and then I moved on. I liked high school. A lot of people did not. I feel like you guys are probably, if there was a spectrum on the do not like side. But
I was very 50-50, but I would definitely love to hear Bree's take on high school and how that was for her, for sure.
Totally. So I think I've been battling with a dissociative disorder for most of my life. And this is not something that I recognized wasn't normal for most people until now. I'm in therapy, of course, as a grown-ass adult. And I guess if like I had to think about it, I kind of knew there was like a quote unquote issue because I never really remember anything and I never knew what that was. Not to self-diagnose, but like I wasn't sure if it was short-term memory loss or ADHD or what. I just knew that there was something that was separating me from everyone else because of some reason I could never fucking remember anything. Anyways, now as an adult who is in therapy, I'm recognizing that this is abnormal, and my therapist and I are currently doing a lot of different assessments trying to figure out exactly what is going on because it affects my day-to-day life way more than I initially realized.
Right.
Especially the last assessment that we did, we realized that my dissociative tendencies were like off the fucking charts. Like a regular score for an average adult was half of what I scored on this assessment. So we're really trying to figure it out now, but I think the best way for me to describe what my day-to-day looks like inside of my brain is I feel like I'm actively watching myself, but not actually participating in what's going on.
Interesting.
So what happens to me a lot of the times is if you can imagine yourself watching a movie while you're sitting on the couch, to me and in my brain, I am looking at the back of my head from like a higher point of view, as if I'm standing up and looking at the back of my own head who is sitting on the couch watching the screen. And I can see the screen as well. And on the screen is myself again, doing whatever it is that I'm actually doing in real life. But do you see how like disconnected that is?
Right.
Like I'm not just watching myself on the screen. I am watching myself on the screen. So like the third perspective a lot of the times is where my brain has been processing things lately, especially for like the last year. Before that, I really felt like the person that was on the couch. You see how like crazy this fucking is? Like what's crazy is I'm literally all three people, but one of them is on autopilot and the other one is just watching the person that's on autopilot. And sometimes I feel lucky and I feel like I can see from the perspective of Brianna on the couch who's just watching the screen. That's how it used to be for me a lot of the times. And now it's kind of shifted to like an even more disconnected thing where now I'm Brianna Lynch who's watching Brianna on the couch who's watching Bri on the screen.
Right.
And sometimes when something is super emotionally triggering, whether it's good or bad, that's when I finally feel like Bri, who is on the screen experiencing these things in real life, and that's when I feel the most connected, but it's really rare, and it might only last for a couple of minutes. And this is like a regular every single day thing that's happening to me. Like this is like 80% of my day every day.
Right.
And like I'm not saying this meaning that I'm dealing with like multiple personalities throughout the day where I feel like three different people, because I feel like the same person, and I think that I feel pretty regulated and stable.
Yeah.
But the only thing that really shifts is my point of view and how attached I am to feeling whatever it is that's happening. Like a lot of the time, doing something tactile with my hands really helps me stay grounded, which is something that I learned in therapy. And a big part of the reason why I have Jade the Avocado here with me during every podcast. But anyways, I think right now my therapist and I are trying to dissect that, which has been super fun. So shout out to you, Mr. Josh. Thanks so much for your help over the past couple of years, because I don't know where I'd be without you. But I feel like that's why whenever I have to try to remember back to anything, specifically like high school or even big events in my life, like graduating high school, I have almost an impossible time remembering any detail about anything. Sometimes I forget that I was even there for certain things, and like somebody will be telling me a story and it does not ring a bell by any means. I've had this happen to me multiple times. I see it happen to me between me and you guys all the time.
Right.
And like the Googling and the research that I have done on my own outside of therapy about dissociative disorders doesn't feel accurate, because Google likes to say that dissociative disorders are a trauma response, which like really makes me upset, because I don't feel like the wording that they chose to use is accurate. I think that that's like the way that I look at the way that Google is describing dissociative disorders is like, that's like somebody saying that you have depression because you're sad because of a temporary thing that happened to you. Like maybe you're going through a really hard breakup, and yes, you can feel depressed, but that does not mean that you have depression as a mental disorder that now you have to start taking medication for. Like these are things that like people have to be studied or like working with a therapist for like years before you get actually diagnosed.
I would agree.
To say that you have something or you don't have something. You know what I mean? Like that's, you shouldn't just go to the doctor and immediately be getting medicine thrown at you. Like they really got to dig deep for this kind of thing. But anyways, let me get back on track here. And like I said, I think I have a really hard time remembering any detail about most things in my life. So yeah, when it comes to my high school experience, it's really hard for me to remember anything because I was associating so much and not even realizing it back then, versus now as an adult, I'm a little bit more aware of it. So like I said, I try to do tactile things, and I really have to like zone in so hard to make sure that I am actually present and I'm not disassociating. And it's really, really hard for me. Like I feel like when I'm trying to even summarize my high school experience, it feels for me like I'm digging through an attic full of boxes that are not labeled just to try to come up with a response. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm trying to remember what really my high school life was like, I think I had like a couple of friends. I think I was friends with, I wouldn't even say friends with, I think I was like cool with a lot of people. And I had a few people that I felt like were my friends that, you know, I would talk to outside of school, and like we had certain things in common and stuff like that. I know that I really had one like best friend in high school. She was actually my neighbor, and she was a couple years younger than me. And the two of us just like did everything together. She was always over at my house. Her name was Haley. I don't know. I thought that in high school that I talked to a lot of people until we got to the reunion, and I spent a lot of the time at the reunion by myself. And then I realized that like I feel like I was more of a loner in high school than I realized immediately. Like I thought that like I was like talking to all these different people and like stuff like that or whatever, but I think I was a lot more quiet than I am now, and I definitely didn't talk as much.
I would agree. I
think like I was involved, but like I wasn't speaking, so like I was just there.
I think that's a really great way to put it, because I think in the beginning of high school you didn't really even have a group. No,
I never had a group, really.
But then sort of towards the end you did kind of have a group. But I do think that if I looking back on it, you kind of were the silent member. Mm-hmm. Like you would respond if talked to, but you were like the third, fourth, fifth person in the group to make the number. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think that was definitely a big part of the first half.
Yeah, you know, another thing that I've been thinking about, or that I've realized a lot too, is like when we were in high school, I used to film a lot. Like you and I were in that one specific team pep class together, and I was always shooting. Like I was just always videotaping everything. I was always like with my camera, and I felt like for so much of my high school experience, I like buried my face in my camera. And I realized recently in therapy, we love therapy for this, but I realized recently in therapy that I think that part of the reason why I'm so like attached to my camera and so attached to like wanting to photograph and videotape everything is because that's the only way that I remember anything, is because I'm doing something tactile, like with my hands, and it makes me like grounded in a sense, and it makes me like have to be focused and zoned in on what I'm doing, and it kind of like brings me back down to earth rather than like when I can just be sitting there doing nothing. But I feel like other than that, in my experience overall in high school, I think that, I don't know, I mean, I kind of had like a rough time in high school, but like not really. Like I think emotionally I had a really rough time. I didn't realize that I was such like an emotional person until I had gotten through high school, and I didn't realize that I was as sensitive as I am. But
Yeah, because you were pretty stoic a lot of the time.
I was very stoic.
Yeah.
But I also think like I just dealt with a lot of shit, dude. Like
Yeah.
I had a pretty tumultuous relationship. Not my relationship with Josh, the one that I had, or
Thank God.
it was one of the ones that I had after Josh. And then I took a really big break from dating for like the rest of my life after that, pretty much. But yeah, I had a pretty tumultuous relationship.
Try to slip that in there.
She just had to.
Yeah, when I was in high school. And like, I don't know. I mean, I think that I learned a lot about the way other people treat me when I was in high school. I think that like I learned a lot about how my friends treated me, how people in relationships would treat me, stuff like that. But like realistically, I thought that I talked to more people, but I guess I didn't. I think I was just like there. And that really became like super prevalent to me at the reunion because, okay, I guess we can dive into like the reunion talk.
Yeah,
now.
I'm ready.
Totally.
Yeah,
Oh my
I'm
God.
super ready. I'm super ready.
Yes.
Okay, real quick, before we like dive into what our reunion was actually like, what were you guys expecting? I feel like for me, like I don't know what the fuck I was expecting, to be honest with you. First of all, I expected it to be at one of the schools that we went to.
Yes.
Like
Don't
what
get
the
me started.
fuck? Now, okay, so guys, listen, audience. I first of all help me come up with like a way to address you guys rather than just saying audience, because for some reason I feel like an authoritative figure every time that I'm like, listen, audience, I'm talking to you. Like I don't know why, but anyway, I need to have a nickname for you guys. I don't know what like. Okay, our high school reunion. Let's paint the picture. First of all, one of our friends, Mackenzie, helped organize the reunion. I think what is she on, like the committee or something?
Yeah, she was on the we'll just say the group that was in charge of organizing it.
Yeah.
When we were in high school, she was I learned, I forgot about this, that she was like our class historian.
Oh, that makes sense for what she does for a living now.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
Duh.
Yes.
But yeah, so she was part of the brain trust that put this together, and I don't say that
Yeah.
condescendingly. Like it was very well put together once
Yeah.
we got there.
Yes,
yeah,
it
it totally was. So we pulled up to the high school reunion, and we're at this like I looked it up on Google prior, and it's like a venue, but like some people get married there, but it's also attached to like a bar and grill.
Yeah, where we were was mostly a wedding venue.
Yeah, it was a
Like-
wedding
I
venue.
would say so.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
gorgeous.
So anyway,
gorgeous.
yeah, the night before, I literally thought that I was gonna pull up looking fly as fuck. I didn't know what the heck I was gonna wear, but like,
Right.
I just thought I was gonna be myself, be fly, whatever. Then Mackenzie hits me up with the, hey, what are you wearing tomorrow? And she sends me a picture of what she's wearing, and it's like a floral dress with heels. And I was like, wait, there's a fucking dress code? I didn't read that when I bought the tickets.
And then a day later, I texted you guys like, "Hey, what are you wearing?"
Yeah,
Oh
and you were
my
like, what are you wearing? And I was
God,
like,
literally.
brother, I don't fucking know.
I got so stressed.
Also, let me tell you guys what. So the dress code on the website where you buy the tickets, first of
Yeah.
all, it's in small fucking print at the bottom.
Yeah, you had to search for it.
You had
for
to
sure,
look for
yeah.
it. Not complaining,
Oh,
but I'm
God.
just painting a picture here.
Yeah.
So it was in small print at the bottom after I bought my ticket. It finally told me. And it basically said summer smart casual.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah, 'cause
what
I-
the
Yeah,
fuck is that?
I
we were
screenshot it
very
and sent it to you
confused
guys.
about
Yes,
that.
yeah. Ryan is the one that actually found the information, and he's like, "It says summer smart casual." So I, of course, texted one of my girly pop friends, and I was like, "Now, what the figgity fuck does this mean?" Like, I was like, "Please help me. How do I get myself dressed for this? How do I help Josh get dressed for this? Like, what do I do?"
Not help to get Josh. I wanted to go in like a
In jorts and a t-shirt.
Not jorts and a t-shirt. I was just doing that for comedy's sake. I think realistically, all I wanted to do was like go in regular black jeans, blue jeans, and maybe wear like a nice shirt. Like I know I typically usually wear like band shirts or
Yeah.
like just comfy t-shirts that like usually I'd probably wear more so at the gym or anything like that. Like for this event specifically, I was like, oh, I thought I could dress a little nicer.
Yeah, like I was
Yeah, but
ready to pull
then-
out like a nice weekend fresh fit, and
Yeah,
then it was like,
Yes.
no.
But then Mackenzie texted me and she's like, "Oh, well, it's at the Madison. So unfortunately, we're not trying to like wear jeans and stuff." And I was like, "Oh no!" Like
Yeah,
I was
like-
like, "Damn."
Yeah, it fucked up my whole idea. Not that I'm like a fashionista, but I was just like, wait,
I
gotta
am,
rethink
and I
this.
was flustered. I
Yeah.
was like, "Fuck!" Not that like I have to wear jeans, but like I was like, "Okay, now you're telling me something that I can't wear." So I was stressed immediately. Anyway, I ended up wearing like a sundressy
Yeah.
kind of thing and some sandals. Didn't feel like being in heels. I'm glad that I didn't make myself wear heels because I would have been more miserable, and I'm just very glad that I didn't do that. So, anyways. I don't know what you guys were expecting, but I was expecting for this to be like at our high school, be super casual, but also, let me tell you guys what. The tickets were like $115 after the fucking fees. First of all, why does anything electronic require a fee? Literally, fucking listen,
brother.
Technology is doing the fucking work. It's not like a person is being paid by the hour to fucking ring us up.
Well,
what are the fees for?
I think the fees come from the companies that streamline the process for regular normies and normal people to.
Brother, we have AI for that shit now.
No, yes,
we should.
Yes and no. AI has not fully taken over like our payment systems. Like, yes, it has, and no, it really hasn't. Like, a lot of it still has human intervention, but I get where the fees and everything like that come in, but like I totally agree with you. Like the $100 originally was crazy, but like I thought about it and I was like, oh well, if they didn't do it at our high school, here's this other venue, and the other venue is probably charging them X amount.
Right,
they probably hired a DJ, which they did hire a DJ.
Yeah, but I would have liked for it to have been at the high school. I want to know what the high school feels like now as an adult.
I disagree. I used to have to drive by that high school multiple times when I used to work in the military base. But like I wasn't eager for our reunion to be there because like not that I thought like going back to the high school was going to stir up bad memories or anything like that. I was just like, I don't mind it being at like a nice venue. I don't mind. Like, fuck yeah. Like getting people I went to high school with, like being able to see them at a place that wasn't school related, that I didn't always see them like on the outside of school was kind of cool.
I definitely see your point after going now.
Yeah, after going now. Beforehand, I get it.
Going in, I was on team. Like, we should just do it at the high school. We could have made it like $50-$40. But I will say, kind of capping the price thing, I think once I got there, I felt a little bit better about the money because they did like they kind of undersold the food situation, to be honest. They actually did have a lot of offering, because that was a big reason I think I was weird about the price at first, because I'm like, I'm not gonna get to eat that much, but there was actually a ton.
They said light refreshments.
They said super light the way they described it. So
no, but that was dinner.
Yeah, no, they straight up. It was like enough appetizers to be your dinner. So I, at the end of all of it, I felt good about what I paid for.
I feel
to be honest.
Okay. Also, like there was an open bar, so that helps.
That's
and not for me because I don't drink. I also didn't get to eat there because everything like had meat.
Well,
pretty
that's
much.
true. Yeah.
So like I literally had a singular brownie the whole night. So I was like, okay, like a little expensive, but also like I never complained about the ticket price to begin with, even though it sounds like I was complaining earlier. I never complained about it because I was like, do you know how fast I can spend $100? Like
you did say that in our chat. You're like
I could spend $100 on some stupid shit right now.
Right, like how many things have you spent $100 on?
I just spent $100 on XLR cords today.
Oh my God, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I literally spent $100 on XLR cords and mic stands today.
Right.
So, I mean, for $100 for like an experience that's a once in a lifetime thing. And I'm not saying that like you're never going to have another high school reunion, but you're never going to have your 10-year reunion again.
It's true. This is like the last one where we'll be like pretty young.
Right.
Like this
is,
like after
the
this.
next reunion,
we're going to be unrecognizable at the next one for sure.
Maybe. I mean,
the next one's
going to
be a
not.
20 or 25 year.
And by that time, we're going to be 38 years old.
Yeah.
40,
right.
Almost close to 40 years old.
Yeah. So
crazy.
Not saying everyone's going to be completely unrecognizable, but like you're going to have to actually look at name tags, I feel like, to be able to recognize people at the next one.
Yeah.
Versus this one, it wasn't necessarily like that. Now, I'm going to speak on why I feel like I did not have such a great time at the reunion real quick. So I think that like I didn't have the best time of my life because I felt like I spent a lot of the time by myself and just like wondering what the fuck I could do to talk to people.
Right.
Now, I think I had a very different experience than a lot of people would have had at our high school reunion.
Sure.
Because when we graduated high school, like again, like I said, I must have been pretty quiet. I guess I wasn't really talking to people very much or whatever. But anyways, then I moved to California literally days after graduating, and I grew up in New Jersey. All of us are in New Jersey currently. And I moved to California days after graduating, didn't stay in contact with a lot of people, not necessarily because I didn't want to, but just because, like, again, I didn't talk to that many people. Mm-hmm. And then most people fell off by the time that I was like living in California for like a year. Either that or they were only talking to me about the stuff that I was working on, and that was the only thing that consumed our entire conversation. And then I started getting upset about that kind of stuff.
Understandably.
So oddly enough, I was really excited to like get into the reunion. I was like, oh my God, I can't like wait to talk to people and stuff, especially like now that I just moved back to my home state and I'm close enough to my hometown.
Yeah, that's what you said. Like when they first announced this last summer, you were like, this is great because like I'm home now and like I can start to like reconnect and maybe like have a network out here.
Right.
Like, of like regular friends.
I just wanted
like
friends.
Work things.
Yeah. Like I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. Like I know these people a little bit already, so it should
Yeah.
be way easier to like reconnect and make friends. What the fuck? Literally, I would stand like, first of all, I was always very introverted, I think, growing up. And now recently as an adult, I've become a little bit more extroverted and I've learned how to talk to people, hence having a podcast. But for some reason, I would like even be standing by myself because I'm comfortable with being alone and I'm comfortable with silence, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'd be just like fucking standing somewhere or whatever. And I would literally, I kid you not, this happened to me at least 12 times, would see somebody that I recognize walking up to me out of the corner of my eye. And I would look over, create eye contact with them, initiate. Like, I'd be like, oh my God, hi, I haven't seen you in forever. How you been? Like, what you up to? Whatever. Would hardly get a response. These people would just fucking stand next to me and not say shit. And I was like, okay, why did you walk over here then? Not like, why did you walk over here? But like, then like their friend would come over and like stand with them. And then now I'm awkwardly standing next to somebody else's conversation. But then randomly, I would get I've been following you for years, and like I saw you in that one Kia commercial, and like I saw you in TV on this, and I saw you in the movie on that, and like I've been seeing you, whatever, I've been following you, and like you're doing great. And I'm like, huh? I just fucking tried to talk to you. Like, and you basically ignored me, like made it awkward for me. I just kept standing here. I didn't fucking leave. And then now you're telling me that like, oh my God, I've been supporting you for so long, or like I follow you or this or that or whatever. And like I was, of course, like flattered. But like, why aren't you talking to me?
I guess maybe if I had to, not that I'm defending a stranger because I don't even know who this was, but maybe
Multiple people.
So I mean, maybe there was like an element of they felt just as awkward about it as you did. Like maybe it's not as malicious as it might look.
I don't think that I was looking at it as malicious intent, but like it was just weird. Like just weird.
I think, like, not to discredit your feelings in this situation specifically, but like maybe everybody in their own realm was doing. I think you might have expected a lot more out of everybody, but like realistically, like everybody else was also kind of on the same wavelength. Like there were people that I was getting into conversations with that like I really didn't talk to in high school, but like apparently that knew me and everything like that. And then like even when we talked, like they ended up moving from our conversation to multiple other conversations very fast.
Yeah.
And you guys probably didn't see that, but like I definitely talked to a lot of people, but like I was jumping from conversation to conversation to conversation.
I noticed that. Yeah, for sure.
Because everybody else that I was conversing with before, they would just keep jumping into another conversation similar to me. And so like I didn't take offense to it. I was just probably like, oh my God, yeah, there's 55 people here. They probably know someone out of this crew of 55, and like maybe they just decided to start another conversation about this specific entity.
Yeah, but like that wouldn't have surprised me. What I'm saying is these people would come up to me, I would try to talk to them, get complete silence for like at least 3 minutes, and then they would randomly like jump into telling me everything that I've been doing for the past 10 years.
Maybe they did feel intimidated by you, which is something we talked about prior.
But like
that was actually the one thing we did talk about the day of.
Brother, listen though, like the people that did tell me like, oh my God, I was like worried about talking to you, or like I was like nervous or whatever. I was like, you knew me with braces and acne. What are you saying
Plus,
right now?
there really was a few people, and I'm not. I don't think we're naming names in this podcast by any means.
No,
so
we don't need to.
Thankfully, we don't need to do any of that. But like, there were definitely a few people who probably like came up to me, Ryan, you even, and probably was just like, yeah, we don't need to like make ourselves feel like we're just like, you know, trying to talk to Bree because she's doing all these cool things, and maybe they felt intimidated in some way, you know, like I don't know. I personally believe like they may or may not have felt intimidated in some way. I don't want to say that's full verbatim the truth, but like maybe that played along in it, but like, I don't know.
Well, I was going to say, like, that's, I kind of think what I was originally leading into is, like, I think that that's what was so much different about my experience. Like, I don't think that that's something other people are going to be able to relate to, but also I can't fucking relate. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand it, especially, like, if you have been, let's say you have been following me for, like, a minute or whatever,
Right.
you've been following me from high school, like, I think I come off as a very approachable person. I respond to all of my direct messages. I always encourage people to talk to me on the internet. Like, so I don't think that I come off as intimidating. I've been told many times in my life that I'm an intimidating person, but like, I just don't think that I like come off as intimidating as people make me seem sometimes.
I think once again to maybe kind of defend the human condition in general. I know I was pretty overstimulated the whole night, and I don't, not that I was ready to curl up into a ball, but like all at once, I was trying to be present while also being actively reminded about the past, and then also thinking about the future. You know, like all at once. And I feel like there's no way that a lot of us weren't feeling that way, because you're just seeing, like, look what everyone looks like now. Look what everyone's doing now. But then you're thinking, like, oh man, look what this person was doing then. And then they have all the pictures from high school going on the screen. They've got there was a lot going on. And I think, when you're getting closer to 30, you just naturally get reflective when you go to things like this, because we are so much in a different stage of life now than we were then.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the intention here is for us to sound negative about it. It's just kind of like this is also basically like a social experiment, right? Like, you're taking people who haven't seen each other in 10 years and being like, go into this fishbowl and hang out. But
yeah,
I think another thing that I really wanted to talk about, because I wanted to see if you guys felt similarly, what I did think was left at the door, or maybe even left at our graduation 10 years ago, I was worried about it, was like people bringing the stuff from then into the reunion. And in my opinion, I felt that everybody left all that shit at the door.
I was anxious about specific people coming to the reunion,
which did not happen. We had a list of like people who we thought were going to make this really awkward for us.
Very true.
Specifically, and it didn't happen. But I really, really think that I was really proud of everyone, and I think saying proud of, when you're proud of people that you don't know that well, but I was really proud of us as a group, that everyone left all of that stuff at the door. And like people, there were even a couple people that I hardly ever talked to in high school, that pulled me over and were like, hey man, like, how you been? And I'm like, good. Like, I'm doing well. Like, I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well. I saw this thing that you were doing. I'm friends with you on Facebook or whatever, and I saw that. That looks awesome.
Yeah.
I really feel like you never know how it's going to go, because 10 years isn't long enough where people still might not be
over something
or like stuck in the past. And really, I think everyone did a great job at being present and realizing that we are full ass adults now. Yeah. And that was really refreshing.
I also think it was great to have such a short, like, we had a big graduating class, I would like to believe, like at least almost
it was like
close
just
to,
under 400.
I think it was just under 400.
Yeah.
Like
there were 55 people at this reunion.
But there were only 55 people at this reunion. So I think, what strikes me the most is that the 55 people that did come were like the ones who stayed the most close knit to each other, and I think
that was very apparent.
And that was very apparent, because I feel like a lot of the portrayals of high school reunions that I've gotten from media, TV, like whatever it is, like a lot of the portrayals of high school reunions I've gotten is that it's every single secular person that has ever existed in your high school class going to this thing and making it almost like a living hell for those who probably felt traumatized from specific people in high school. But then, like, we went, and all the people that I'm only speaking from our experience, but like we went to this reunion with, specifically me and you, Ryan, we went with like not so good intentions in our brain, and like we saw people that like we actually genuinely felt like a good connection with.
Yeah,
like,
and even people that I didn't talk to.
Yeah. I mean, me specifically, I had one person there that like we used to fight, we used to traumatize each other in different stupid fucking ways that we really didn't even need to. But like,
And
we
you just realize that none of it matters.
We're
now,
adults
yeah.
now, and we're homies now, and like
Yeah.
we're such like decent friends. Like, and I say decent friends because like, you know, we don't hang out every day. We don't do it. We're just good on social media and everything like that. And like we're very decent friends, and like I love the way that like their life is going, that they, you know, this person specifically has kids, and like they're doing great with their kids. Like it was just really cool to see that aspect of it.
Yeah.
At the reunion.
No, I totally agree. And like I said, I really had conversations with some people that I probably had 0 to less than 5 conversations with.
Agreed.
Not even
I
all
was
of high
gonna say
school,
that
but
too.
all of the whole K through 12 in my experience.
Same.
I talked to somebody who by coincidence now works at the same place that I do, but they're like in a totally different realm, so I don't see them, but I just know that they work there. And we talked about that. And actually, shout out to her if she does hear this in a universe. I talked her fucking ear off by accident because I was just like, oh wow, someone that I didn't expect to talk to is talking to me. And at one point I was like, I'll let you get back to your night. Like that's
so
my
funny.
bad. That is totally
That's
my bad.
hilarious.
You know,
Actually,
I actually had something kind of sort of similar. So I will say the one person that I think was like kind of like, I feel like this person was probably like the highlight of my night. I don't even know how we completely missed each other in high school. Anyway, this person was like pretty much like the highlight of my night because somehow the two of us completely missed each other in high school. Like we're never friends. We're from opposite friend groups. And like this person like came up to me, I guess, just because they follow me on social media. And, you know, we're just like talking to me and we like got into a whole conversation. This person pulled up in a fucking cooler car than I did.
Oh,
I was like kind of mad.
I know who you're talking about.
Brother, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? My entire 10 years since I've graduated, this has been like, I'm going to be the person with the coolest car. Like, this motherfucker pulled up with an R32. I was like, are you kidding me? Please be my friend. The entire time that I went to this high school, I never spoke to this person, never had any interactions with them by any means. And like, literally fucking highlight of my night. But then there had another person that like that I'd been following like on the internet for a little while or whatever, and I was like, damn, this person does really good work. Like I would love to like work with them or whatever, especially we live close to each other. I think I could help them, whatever, blah blah blah. Literally I don't know what the fuck happened. Like
I mean, it seems from what Josh said, they were openly intimidated.
That's crazy.
Not
like I'm literally
possibly.
just a fucking girl.
yes,
not by you.
to you,
Yeah.
but maybe not by you, but like probably by like the accolades you have in life.
It was out
and,
of
like,
respect for your craft.
Yeah, I feel like maybe people
Not
like
'cause you're scary.
understood what, like, again, you have to understand, like,
I have pink hair. Please don't take me seriously.
if you want my honest opinion, I feel like they probably just, I hate to say it, like you and I have already talked about this one specific person who like wanted to like link up with you, and not in that way, obviously. I wouldn't be talking about it if it was in that kind of context, but creatively
Yeah.
creatively, and like not even creative, like so much just creatively, but like possible business ventures and avenues in the future. Like you never know.
Yeah.
And they were talking to me and they were like, yeah, like I've been meaning to talk to her all night, and like I've just been mad nervous. And I'm like, I don't know what you're nervous about. Like, I see the reunion as a great opportunity to not only reconnect with those that like you may or may not have had a great relationship with in high school, but like even a further continuity of like being able to connect and like
Well, it's
build
like literally another version of a networking event, but like a little different.
Basically.
It's the same thing. It's not even another version. It's exactly
Yeah.
what it is. It's networking with the same network of people that you went to high school with.
Yeah.
But now you guys are adults, and like you can have a more adult like conversation. Some people do really get stuck in high school, and honest to God, I'll be so candid about this, chat. Like the people who didn't show up to this reunion were definitely the ones who like believe everything in high school and are still, and if you want my honest opinion, are still stuck in high school and never were able to get out of high school.
Which is so funny because
Yeah, it's crazy.
I would expect the opposite, right? Like you would think
Right.
that this is their big night. Like
You would
Yeah.
think.
But there
You
were
would
so
think.
many people that we expected to be there that were nowhere
Nowhere
in
to be
sight.
found. Yeah.
Nowhere in sight. Nobody knew if they were, hadn't heard about it. But I was so shocked by that. We mentioned it. I was shocked by the amount of people that were there. And honestly, I even texted my two friends that we went to high school with as well, and I was like, "You guys should have come. Like, it would have been fun." I really did think that with all of these weird like little critiques and I wouldn't even say criticisms, it's just like observations that we're making.
Yeah.
I overall felt like whether the personal night, I can't obviously make your guys' opinions for you, but I think if I was on the outside looking in, I think that it was overall a really good night, and I think it was a lot of good feelings in the air. I think that there were some good spots towards the end, with like the music and the dancing, and we took like the group picture and stuff, and I felt like even though it was a group of people who didn't associate then, don't really associate now, we were able to kind of come together and bond over this one thing where we grew up and high school and all that stuff. It didn't feel overly awkward.
I agree. I think because this had like been such a highly anticipated thing for me for the past 10 years, like I think I had higher expectations.
Balloon definitely popped when you got there.
Right.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think it literally was just because for me, like I expected to talk to so many more people, but like people just were not talking to me in the way that I had hoped.
But I will admit, from what I got to see, you had a few secular amount of people who like definitely wanted to talk to you. Like, would you not agree? Like,
no, I would agree.
Without naming names, I definitely feel like there was a few amount of people who wanted to talk to you, or B, had that opportunity to talk to you, but only got to talk to you for like that specific amount of time.
Yeah,
maybe.
And
I
just
think
carried on with the rest of the reunion.
Yeah, I think just on my end, like it took convincing for me to get people to talk to me.
Yeah.
And that
That's
was
fair.
like very much so like a letdown. Not that I'm expecting everybody to like run up to me and just start talking to me or whatever.
Right.
But I didn't expect it to feel so like forced, especially from my end. And it really reminded me of like how introverted I was in high school. And it kind of felt like it brought me right back to like being a loner. And it just kind of sucked in that way.
Yeah.
Not saying that the whole experience sucked, but I think that like internally in my brain, that sucked.
You subliminally and like subconsciously, I really do feel like you may have thought a lot into it about like, and I'm not trying to predict your thought pattern or explain to you what your thought pattern was in
No,
this
mansplain
exact
her
instance.
thoughts.
Yeah,
Do it.
mansplain away. Go ahead.
No.
I have therapy on Monday.
No. But like
Mr. Josh will be hearing about this.
Yeah, Mr. Josh. I know
My
he said
therapist's
he
name
wants-
is also Josh, so we call him Mr. Josh when I have to mention
so that
him
we
in passing.
can separate the entities, and he is going to definitely listen to this podcast, and he's going to be like, "Oh my God, Josh!"
He told me he thinks
totally-
I'm going to have a good podcast.
I believe it, and I'm editing it, so I hope you have a good podcast. I mean, between you and I, we're technically both editing it, but
I just come for the vibes.
Ryan just here for the vibes.
What I was gonna say was like I feel like there was maybe this certain inflection of like people coming up to you and you wanting to say your piece, but like honestly, I mean, like I don't even think it has anything to do with you being a loner. I think the thing about a high school reunion, and something I noticed the entire night, is like even though it looked like I was talking to a lot of people, yeah, sure. Like honestly, I'm thoroughly shocked at how many people talked to me.
Yeah.
And honestly, even aside from the people that talked to me, the amount of people who remembered me. And
that was your opening line for every conversation that I heard.
You remember me? Yeah, every time.
Every single conversation.
And realistically, it was because my preconceived notion of like high school was that I was such a loner and such an isolate that like,
Ooh.
I definitely did not think that anyone would just know who I was or what I was about. Like that when I went to the reunion, people like actually remembered the band I was in, or they were just remembered specific pieces about me. They were like, "Oh yeah, this is what I remember about you in high school," and I was like, "Holy shit!" Because this is what I remember about you in high school, and it was a great way to just kind of acknowledge that. And thankfully, like it didn't feel like I had to continue and force conversation with them. It felt very organic and very natural.
See, that's what I wanted.
But I don't want to say you didn't entirely get that because, like,
how would you know? You weren't even there.
I mean, I wasn't there for every aspect of your conversation, but like some of the conversations I was in that you were in, it felt very natural, and I felt like they thoroughly knew who you were and didn't entirely bring up exactly what you did.
Yeah.
Because if you want my honest opinion, what you do for a living is 10 out of 10 times a lot cooler than what a lot of people do for a living. But like, aside from that, I feel like they would have had more to say about it, but they just didn't because out of respect for you, they probably didn't want to just bring that up.
Well, here's the other thing too, is something that I literally caught myself saying. You were standing there with me, Ryan, when this happened. There was one person that we were talking to that I realized we were like over 10 minutes into our conversation with this person.
That one did extend. Yeah.
It did extend for a while, which I never spoke to that person in high school either. I spent a lot of my time speaking to people that I had never spoken to before in my entire life.
That person, and maybe they'll know it's fine because it's for me, it's water under the bridge.
Yeah.
Severely. Actually, I shouldn't say severely. Not severely, but constantly in middle school bothered me and Chris because we were friends.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Just like always caught just like ragging on us because we were always together.
That's so funny.
But like that was all that. But I think, and that was one of the conversations where I was like, oh yeah, like this shit don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't matter anymore. Like,
you know what though? To that person, I specifically, literally said like. We were like easily like 10 minutes into a conversation. Then somebody else joins into our conversation. It's like, so man, what you been up to? Blah, 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 blah. And then this person goes ahead and explains their careers. And I was like, see, actually, I didn't even ask that because I don't fucking care. I was like, but I don't mean like I don't fucking
that.
care.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't mean like I don't fucking care what you do for a living. But like that to me is not important. And like that's not like a big like driving force of the conversation. So for me, that's not a question that I ask. Quite honestly, like I don't know what 90% of my friends do for a living. I just don't.
That's so true.
Well, brother,
that's
like
so true.
I was just talking to Mackenzie the other day, and she was like, "Didn't Ryan go to Rutgers?" I was like, "No, he did not."
You guys didn't even know where I went to.
No,
where
I knew where you went to school.
I knew where you went to
were
school.
right.
I was correct. Yes,
but like the fact that you were debating on it was just even.
She was debating with me. I knew where you went to school. I was like, "No, girl, I fucking know that one for sure." But anyways, normally I don't know. I just don't know that kind of information about people. I really don't because I don't ask. But I think it's because you guys will notice that in this podcast for sure. Because like you'll see, I just dive right into the deep shit with people, and then I'm like, wait a minute, paint the picture. I forgot. Sorry, I have to like, help everybody else out understand what the hell's going on here. But my brain doesn't work like a normal person, so sorry. I think that because of the fact that that's not something that I immediately go for with people, because it just doesn't like. What does that information do for me?
Right. It doesn't form that doesn't help form your opinion on a person at all.
Right. Like I literally don't care what you do for a living. Yeah. Like not in like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like you're not degrading way.
Yeah, like you're not uninterested in their life, and
correct.
Like if they told you like, hey, like I sell cars, you'd be like, oh, that's cool, but like you're just not invested in it enough because you're trying to get deeper.
Right.
With a person.
I get
like,
much deeper.
Like,
so I think
what do you do with your time? What's your family like? Where you live in? Like that kind of stuff.
Exactly. And I'll go way deep with people quick. You know what I mean? But
now,
I think that that's part of the reason why maybe like there is a weird like thing for people with talking to me. If I'm also again like hyper analytical kind of person,
because it's so in the forefront, right? Like what you do, it's right there.
Well, maybe. I mean, I try not to talk about it very much because it's just not all about me.
But like if they're following you like virtually. Now, I think another factor that we haven't talked about, although small, I do think is important because we have not covered this at all. There were not that many women there. Like this
literally
event, this
no
event,
bitches. No,
this
kidding.
This event.
I can say that because I'm a woman.
This event was not for the girlies, not by choice. But
the girly pops were absent.
They were not there.
Absent.
Like, and I think that honestly goes a long way in the connection part of things because I think that the connections you're trying to make aren't necessarily the way that men connect, right? Like men are very surface level, men are very like what's in front of them. Whereas whereas like if there were more female or people who identify as female at this function, you may have been able to connect a little bit more because you would have had that girly pop energy going. So you know what I mean? Like it's tough when you're like, I mean, I really think that like 2/3 of the people there were men
for sure,
and most of the women there were
clicked up. They were in their cliques.
Not even like there were just a couple of people that were like with a person romantically.
Yeah.
So they were attached the whole night. So like whatever the dude was doing, because there were more dudes, she was attached. So like there wasn't a lot of independent girly energy.
Maybe
And honestly,
there was that, but I also like the girls that I did see were very like with their group.
Right, because there were so little, but they were
yes.
like they didn't expand.
Agree.
Yeah.
I agree to a certain extent, but like if you want my honest opinion, you guys can totally disagree with me. I do not believe it was very cliquey that night. I don't.
No.
I really don't. I don't believe it was. I don't believe.
Actually, yes and no.
Yes, sure.
Because the
Say
whole
yes and
divide
no.
that we were talking about before, I very clearly saw at the end of the night.
There was a point
But
in the
there
night
were-
where everybody kind of went to
But
their
there were a
original
few.
group.
There were a
Yeah.
few. There were a few women, like specifically, that
Yeah,
like
yeah.
talked to me. They didn't talk to me for a long period of time by any means.
Yeah, yeah.
But like I had no interaction with them in high school by any means.
I spoke
and,
to
like,
literally maybe 2 girls.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like,
And like one of them, we used to be on the same bus, and I only got to talk to her
Yeah.
while I was standing with you, Josh, for like literally maybe 30 seconds when we first walked in. And then one other one was talking to everyone around me, which were all men. And then I was like, hey, do you remember me? And then she's like, oh my God, yeah, hi. And then we like hugged, and that was
But
it.
you know what? Not to throw you under the bus, but I talk way more than you do. I
that's
think
not really
so.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you do.
I think like like the only reason I'm bringing
Even
that
the
up.
podcast knows that. No, I'm kidding.
Shut up, chat. She doesn't believe in me.
No, I really think though it comes down to the number. Like
I think
truly,
it
was like
yeah.
2/3 dudes.
Yes.
So there's just less
Absolutely,
girly pop
absol-
energy in the room.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. You know, and
I agree.
and then if you
And
can even knock down the woman number even more, because the people organizing
Yeah.
were mostly women.
Yeah.
So you take them out because they're trying to oversee that this is
Correct.
going well.
Yeah.
So it's even smaller number. And I do think that played a small role, because
I think so, too.
Because I think honestly, I'm not trying to write the script for you, but I think that I think in terms of the friend department, you probably were looking to hopefully connect with some other women.
Absolutely. I mean, like
because there's plenty of guy people for you to beat around here. You
well,
know,
it's true. And I mean, I think that like for it's this weird now. I was actually just talking to Mackenzie about this the other day when we were walking our dogs. I was like, now this part in my life, like very odd transition from like being 25 to now almost being 28. Like my friend group has shifted. I used to just have guy friends growing up. Like
Right.
all I had was a bunch of guy friends. Like hardly ever have had any girlfriends. I don't know what it was, but like now recently, especially as of like moving to New Jersey, I don't know if it's because Josh has a lot of girlfriends or what it is, but like suddenly it has shifted, and now like 70% of my friends are female and the other like 30% of my friends are men,
Right.
which is weird. But I also think that it's because, again, as you were saying before, that guys are a little more surface level a lot of the time, stuff like that, whatever. Now with my move, because I've moved so many times, like I lost a lot of my guy friends from New Jersey when I went to California, made new
Yeah.
guy friends in California. Now I left California, came back to New Jersey. Where are my friends? I don't
Yeah.
hear from them. I literally don't hear from them. They don't talk to me. They don't hit me up, whatever. And like, I'm a very like, again, highly sensitive person, and my therapist tells me I'm an HSP is what that's called. But anyway, highly sensitive person. And so for me, as soon as I feel like Josh over there nodding his head,
No.
yeah, you are. That's why Ryan was snickering. But anyway,
No.
and it's fine. I mean, I'll admit it. I mean, I say it all day long. But for me, especially now, like later in my life, I definitely like reciprocate energy. And I hate to say that. Like, I hate to use such a like stupid like millennial kind of phrase that we've come up with, but I definitely reciprocate energy now. Like if I call you or I try to make plans with you or whatever, and then you never hit me back up, that is literally fine. I'm not chasing you.
I don't think that's like I don't think that's like silly at
I don't
all.
think it's silly either. I mean, I think the phrase is a little silly, but like I definitely like, I don't know. That's just kind of how I live my life now. Like there's like friends that I thought I was super close with, and then now I've gone like months without speaking to. But why?
I just think that's what happens as you get older, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think so too, but
it just comes to light, like who is going to be there and who's not.
It's
Definitely.
true. And
Yeah.
like,
Definitely.
I get super busy and like a lot of the times like won't answer my phone for like a day or like whatever. But I don't know. I just, if those people aren't reaching out to me, why am I trying so hard? So I think that's why that's why my friend group has shifted. And it's maybe because women have a tendency of like reaching out and keeping in touch and caring about the deeper things that are going on. And like when you ask, they're like, oh my God, how are you doing? And you're like, oh, I'm good. How are you? And she's like, no, how are you really?
Right.
Versus like your guy friends don't do that.
Well, it's like that
as
stereotype when like say like a married man goes to play golf with his friends and they're golfing for 3 hours and he comes home and the wife is like, so how's Johnny? Like, how's the thing with his, his surgery and blah, blah. And they go, oh, I don't know. And then the wife goes, what did you talk about for 3 hours? And you're like, fucking, I don't know. We were just hanging out. Like we just don't ask these deeper questions.
Yeah, I think that's probably what that is. So maybe maybe it really has to do with my move, and especially like even with my career with traveling so often and stuff. Like when I'm just not hearing from people, it's not that I'm taking it offensively. It's just that like I'm not gonna spend so much of my energy on that if the energy's not being spent back on me either. So maybe that's why maybe that's why my friend group has shifted. So like maybe what you were saying about there not being as many women at our reunion, maybe that's why I felt like I was struggling.
Yeah, because you're looking to connect.
Yeah, I'm trying to make friends.
Yeah, exactly, right. And not that guys aren't, but it's just a different type of thing.
No, I mean, and I did invite some of the people from our reunion to my little birthday party next week, but you didn't RSVP, by the way. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, well,
I'm just kidding. I'm going.
It's now recorded that I'm coming. I might be might be a little bit late, but I'll be there.
Yes, brother.
Another thing I wanted to bring up, not that I don't want to feel like I'm steering the ship completely, but
no, please do so.
It was related to kind of the very first question about expectations. So my expectations were super low. Not in terms of like, will this be good or not, but just like I have no idea what to expect.
Yeah.
But the one thing that became clearly evident to me, and this kind of goes into the name of the podcast, going back to like the URL side of things. I think the surprise that reunions used to the surprise effect that reunions used to have was very much lost, at least for me, because I said on in a previous episode, like I'm not super active on social media, but I'm definitely a very passive scroller. So I have been following a lot of these people's lives for like the past 10 years through Instagram. So like when I saw them, I already knew what to expect.
That's crazy. You would think that would happen for me, but I don't follow anybody. I'm
right.
horrible.
So maybe you had a more authentic experience, but for me, like I was like, oh yeah, like I know I know you're doing this job now, and I know you just like bought a house, or I know you have a dog, or like I knew a lot of stuff. The one guy I talked to, I was like, yeah, dude, like I saw on Facebook that you have a podcast. I see you post your little stories and your snippets, and he was like, yeah, man, it's going really good. Like I like there was kind of this like lack of surprise that I feel like say 30 years ago, like when you came to a 10-year reunion, you straight up have not seen anything of a lot of these people for that whole 10 years. Like you have not seen them since graduation night. But there's a lot of these people for me where I'm seeing them at least, even if they don't post a lot, at least once every 3 years. Even for the people who post like me, like even people who follow me, I've posted at least 12 to 15 times between graduation and it's probably a little bit more to that reunion last week. So like, they get a little bit of a snippet, That's
a really good point.
Like there were people who like you may have thought, wow, they look so different. And I was like, I just saw them on Instagram last week. Like I knew that they made that change. I don't know if you felt that way, Josh, at all.
Like the people that did show up to the reunion, I didn't really follow up with, I'll be honest, I didn't follow up with any of them on social media. Like,
that's good. Everyone you guys were surprised, and I was not.
Everyone who was there was definitely a bigger shock to me than like the people I thought would have been there. And the people I thought would have been there not showing up surprisingly shocked me.
I
agree. So
yeah.
I think that's what honestly made the reunion a lot better for me, was that I like got to see people there that like I honestly not that I didn't anticipate them being there, but like I could have anticipated them being there, but they weren't on the forefront of my brain.
Sure.
And so like the people I did get to see there, I was like super happy with the direction they were going in with their lives, and like
Yeah.
I didn't have a negative connotation of them like in high school or anything of that like variation. So like I'll be honest, like I had a completely, I had a completely negative mindset going into possibly entering this reunion.
For sure.
And was completely and pleasantly surprised, even to the point where like we played that fucking, what was it? Like a lottery game?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
the raffle.
Josh won. Ugh. Literally. Okay. First of all, we got to this reunion literally within 60 seconds of it starting. I felt like such a fucking loser. I thought that we were all going to pull up to the reunion like 30 minutes late, but
We were like right on time.
We were literally on time. We were the first ones there.
I felt like such a freaking loser. Oh my God. I was like, oh my God, why are you here so early?
Just to inject real quick, like
I thought we were late.
Well, we had plans prior to that, and then they ended, and we were like, well, we might as well go to the reunion now.
No.
But Bree said that under the assumption,
True.
like so it was supposed to start at 7:30, but Bree fully thought that it was starting,
at 7.
At 7.
Like she was like, great,
right.
we're gonna cool in, you know, like coolly get there at 7:30 and be half an hour late.
Right,
things will just be starting up, and like when we got there, I was like, oh no, brother! Like this is starting at 7:30. That's why
we pulled up at 7:31. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding?"
That's why I wasn't in a rush to leave, but I didn't want to fight you on it because I knew you were trying to pull up in the Corvette and everything. So
you know what it was? I thought that when you and I had a conversation first, Ryan, about the reunion.
Yeah.
Ryan thought that he had to work until 7 that day,
and I thought it started at 7.
And
so
you
I was
thought
like,
it
I'm going to
started
show
at
up
7.
an hour late, most likely.
You were like, I'm not going to be able to get there until like 8 o'clock.
And then you were like, oh no, it doesn't start until 7:30. And I was like, okay, then I'm only going to show up like a half an hour late. Not
and then
bad.
you ended up only working until 5 that day.
Right.
So then once Ryan got off of work, I like literally, Josh and I were at like a party prior, and then I like ordered Chipotle to our house beforehand because I was worried that we weren't going to be able to eat. Like I was like, we're going to be in a rush. Like Ryan's going to meet us at the house and we got to freaking go, whatever. So once Ryan got to the house at 7 o'clock, I was like, we got to get going, brother. We're going to be late because we're not trying to be an hour late.
Yeah.
Because I, for some reason, thought that it started at 7 o'clock, but I got it confused with the time that you got off of work.
Right.
But anyways, it ended up working out for us because Josh's ticket won a fucking raffle prize, and we got a Theragun.
What's crazy is that I lost my ticket.
Yeah.
Like at least easily midway through the entire reunion.
But they were smart. And they made us write our names on them.
And they made us write our names on the adjacent ticket. And when they pulled it, they were like, is someone named Joshua here? And I was like,
literally,
Ryan and I were looking at each other.
I was like, I know my ass is the only one named Joshua at this reunion. I was like, let's fucking go, brother. Now I have a massage gun.
Yep, yeah. I feel like it's half my massage gun because I was like, if he doesn't go up there and pick the fucking massage gun off of that table, we're getting in a fight.
But you know, it's crazy now, like to look at this reunion and here we are. 10 years have passed. We got to go, and you know what? If you want my honest opinion, just to narrow it down, it felt like going to an average school dance.
You didn't go to any of them.
I did not. No.
I went to them.
Listen.
You were too cool.
When I say it felt like going to a school dance, I'm not talking solely about the dancing portion, but like, no, I didn't actually even go to any dances in high school, but like,
I know.
It really felt like that in the sense that like toward the midway to end of it, no one was talking, and then everyone decided to go on the dance floor, listen to like all the old songs we used to dance to like 10 years ago and everything like that.
Soulja Boy made me upset. I was ready.
I don't mean to derail us.
You're not derailing.
But I feel like if anybody that was there or organized it listens to this, they'll appreciate this part. The DJ, photographer, videographer.
That man was a one-man band.
Legitimately, but was really good at it. Like, he was,
and honestly,
he was fucking crushing
to
it.
Piggyback off of what Ryan was saying, the people who organized it did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, they fucking
realistically,
killed it.
Whether we had again, there was pros and cons to regardless. But
once we got there.
got there, to those who organize the event and put the hard work in getting everything, like, you guys rock. You guys were amazing. You guys killed it.
I just wish they would have told us like an example of what to wear.
I got you. Yeah,
mean,
that
fair,
would have been a
but
little better.
I don't
But-
think we were like overdressed, but like I feel like the three of
Totally.
us felt slightly overdressed.
I did feel a little bit.
I
but
just would have
honestly-
appreciated like a little bit.
I
of
definitely felt overdressed
description.
because like I wore like at least at the most I wore like my skinny like slacks,
Brother.
like the ones that I have. But like I
You
wore
looked
a but
fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank
that's 'cause
you.
I
but like
dressed him.
I wore yes. Yes and no.
I did.
I wore a button
got
up shirt
screenshots
and
to
everything
prove
like
it.
that. But then I saw people wearing like just regular jeans and regular plain white t-shirts.
That's what I'm
and
saying,
everything
is
and
like-
I was like, oh my God.
No, listen.
Even if I had dressed casual, I would have dressed
Yeah, I would've still
way
looked, yeah.
better. I would have looked amazing.
I just wish they would have been like khakis and a button-down shirt. would be
Yes.
great.
Sure, yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like if they would have given us like a simple thing like that, or like they would have been like, you know, skirts and dresses, or like khakis and a button-down shirt, whatever. Like a simple explanation, especially because they had a social media page where like you could have easily done
Yeah.
that and not written it on the ticket thing.
Yeah.
Like, or you could have just threw a story up talking and been like, oh, this is like what all of our organizers are wearing to the reunion. Like, so you guys get a vibe check. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. I think that would have made sense.
I agree. I had a pleasant time. I caught up with some people that I didn't even think were going to be there. I thought it was really pleasant overall. Now, I will say though, once the lights go off, you go home, the things like that. I don't know about you guys, but I had several thoughts about it. You know, I think we've all kind of shared our opinion on the night itself at this point, but my brain kind of kept going the next couple of days after that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like, and it was kind of a whirlwind of emotions, to be honest. Like, it was like, I was, you know, at first it was like happy it happens, but then also like really nostalgic, but then also kind of,
Sad.
I got a little reflective, like self-reflective,
Yeah.
and I, you know, and I ended up talking about it in therapy too this week, but like,
Oh,
it was like I started beating myself up a little bit, you know?
Really?
Because I started looking, and I had a pretty loaded week going into that event, so that's my stuff. But like, I was like, you know, this is not where I would have wanted to have been. Like if someone said this is where you would have been when you get to the 10-year reunion, I was disappointed. Like I was disappointed
in
Yeah.
yourself.
in
Yeah.
my, and like where like how things have played out. And what I will say, I was proud of myself though. It wasn't in comparison to other people.
Okay.
Good.
Like I
Yeah.
wasn't like, you know, oh,
That's
this
good.
person's doing this. I am upset because I'm not there. I was very self-reflective, but it was tough because I really did have a good time. But I also think that it made me like I said, like happy that I went, you know, sad that it's over, sad that like we're at this point and I'm not quite where I want to be.
Yeah.
And then just very nostalgic in general because like I said, I had a positive high school
Can I
experience
add
overall.
to that?
So, yeah, absolutely.
Actually, I had a few people say like, you know, I started my own business after high school. I started my own trucking company.
Sure,
or
yeah.
they were like, oh, I've been working for this specific firm for many
Yeah.
years after high school. And like, not like firm, like lawyer firm, like just
Yeah.
firm in general. And like, then there was people who were like, oh, well, like I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
I'm that. I'm like, you know, it's funny, the people who are saying all these things, like, it's not that I never expected them to succeed in life, but like they were doing things that I couldn't have even predicted that they
Yeah.
would have done
Yeah.
in life after high school. And I'll be honest, it was all superficial.
Yeah.
It was all face value.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I like looked at them in high school and I was like, I really wonder what they're going to be like after
Yeah.
high school. And then after high school, I saw them doing more than like what I am currently doing. And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Like it to be like you may not have been comparing, but like I was comparing.
Sure.
And,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I was
I
like,
think that's very normal.
I was like, holy shit, like I need to step it the fuck up. Like because like there were people who were doing like aside from like having families, because like that's a goal, but like I'm talking solely on like the career aspect and like what I want to be doing with my life. Like, yeah, I want to have a
yeah.
family and everything like that, but like I also want to make sure like my ducks are in a row.
Yeah.
And I know that like what I'm doing for a living can provide for my family.
Absolutely,
Because
yeah.
if I'm not, then what's the point of having a family if I know for a fact I can't provide for them in any capacity?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, well,
that.
absolutely.
And so, like, when I was listening to what people were telling me and, like, everything like that, I'm like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like,
And-
you're doing some crazy things, and I could be doing better.
But on the other side of it, I really do think, though, and I hope that whoever's listening to this, if you're 9 years out of high school and you're getting ready for the one next year, or
Yeah.
you just went to your 10-year, like what I ended up talking about this week when I was expressing these feelings was like, we have to be nicer to ourselves.
Totally.
Because on the same note, there were multiple people who said to me, but do really any of us have any idea what we're doing? And no, we didn't. And then there was one person, I don't remember if you were in the conversation, Josh, but I know you definitely were, Bree. The one person was like, and they're making very good money, and they're like, I fucking hate my job.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that was actually very refreshing. And I don't I don't mean to be like, yeah, that's great to
Wait.
hear. I feel
Did
bad.
they have blonde hair?
No.
No. Okay, so we weren't in the right.
They
Both of us, no.
I'll tell you after.
Yikes.
But like that was refreshing in the sense of like I was like, okay, cool. So like just because you have this one thing doesn't mean that you're not dissatisfied in other areas.
Totally.
And once again,
I think that's a great
I
thing to
hope that
mention.
person finds their peace with their career.
Yes.
I just think that it did put it into perspective for me that not everybody, even if it appears that they're doing super well, they're not doing super well in every category.
Gotcha. Well,
And I think that's what we should always tell other people and ourselves. Like, just be nicer to yourself because everyone's going through something. Sorry, what
Yes.
were you saying, Brie?
No, nothing. I was actually gonna admit to that because I mean, even though I pulled up to the reunion in my C7, like I have like the movie industry's been on strike for so long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I was praying that nobody was gonna be like, so what was the last thing they worked on? Or like, what are you working on now? Like, not a lot because my industry's been very quiet. There's
About
a couple.
that.
Yeah, there's a couple things I
Yeah.
got going for me right now. Like I have a podcast that I'm starting, and like I worked on this or I worked on that, or I was a TV host on Helping Hands Garage or whatever. But like currently, I got nothing. You know what I mean? And like that is a lot for me as a person that's been working for the past 10 years. And like now I come up to this high school reunion and I'm so happy that I'm like, to other people I have a successful career, and that's like something that like I can easily answer to. But
Right.
like people are probably like, oh my God, she's pulling up in a Corvette. Like, yeah, but I haven't been working in a very long time. And like, I was just telling Josh earlier that like my little stupid Chase Bank app, like ego checked me so hard earlier today. I remember when I was originally looking to purchase a house, when I was like actively in the market, I had been approved for like triple the amount that my bank account like earlier today literally told me. It was like, Brianna, you could be pre-approved for this amount right now. And I was like, damn, brother. Like, I remember like 2 years ago, that amount was way higher. Not like from my app, but when I actually got a real pre-approval letter.
Yeah.
And I was like, ugh, I hate that.
Yeah,
like, I was
times
like,
rough, yeah.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, like, not the roughest, but like, it's still like,
Right.
Yeah, but like, I was like, imagine all these other fucking people, man. Like,
But that's the thing too, though. You don't want to tamp down your issues, like because it could be worse. It could be worse is one of the worst things. It's
It is.
not where you want it to be, and it's
know-
okay to be disappointed
Yeah.
by that. But it's also not something you want to destroy yourself over.
I will say also, like, low key, I'm a little glad there wasn't so many women at the high school reunion because I did notice myself comparing just a little, not like a lot, and not with where I'm at in life in my career and this and that, but in a totally different way that I think a lot of people won't understand unless if you're a woman that is interested in like having children. Is like, I know there's so many moms from when we were in high school that are now at this 10-year reunion and are like moms, or everyone's engaged, or everyone's married, or everyone's this, or everyone's that. And I'm like, oh my God, the freaking clock is ticking. And I hate that I compare myself to them. I think that like when I was young, I had this little like vision board style journal diary thing that I talked about on the last episode with you guys, and I had like everything like drawn out and written out, and like I
Yeah.
wanted to own a car off of a dealership parking lot by a specific age, and I wanted to be married by a specific age, or engaged at least by a specific age, and like wanted to be a homeowner by a specific age, and like these were just all like goals that I had set for myself. And then like now, like going to this reunion and seeing some people that were still together with their high school sweethearts, and like this person is a mom of 3, this person's got a daughter, or this person's like pregnant, or like whatever. Like I was like, oh my god,
yeah,
like,
but yeah,
and also I've always been like very like, I could have kids or I couldn't have kids. You know what I mean? Like I've been always like very like on the fence kind of.
Course.
And like I think it was always because I never like found a person that I was like, I want to have your children for sure. You know what I mean? Aside from Josh. Now. But
Hell
like
yeah.
but before this, like I was never feeling like that. And now I'm like, God, my mom by my age had almost a 2-year-old. Like I was a year and a half by the time that I am the age that I am at this moment currently. And she'd had me already. And I was like, damn, I just feel like a little behind. So I'm like a little grateful that there wasn't as many girls, probably just for my own mental health for that. But like,
I will say though, to that specific point that you just made, and points similar to that though, about like running out of time and milestones by this age and things like that, we were very much robbed of our mid-20s.
Definitely.
You guys were 24 in 2020.
yeah.
Your entire middle of your 20s, and mine as well. I was almost 25 at that time.
Yeah.
Once everything really recovered, and last year was like the full normal year.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we lost time.
We really did. And like I think that also like economically now, like I don't know, we obviously are much further back than we ever have been before. Like I think, and like obviously it's so much harder to pay for things and afford things and everything like that in this day and age. But like unfortunately for women, I don't think that men will ever be able to relate to this, but like our biological clock is ticking and there's nothing that we can do about it. Yeah. You know, so like that's just like really annoying and discouraging. But yeah, I mean, overall, like high school reunion was fun. I'm glad that we went. I'm glad that we did it. And like, again, not what I was expecting. I don't know what the fuck I was expecting, but not what I was expecting. And like, I think I just expected to like be in a better mood.
I hear you.
And I wasn't, unfortunately. But I'll unpack that in therapy on Monday.
I guess in my closing thoughts, yeah, I expected it to be a lot worse. Realistically, like I thought it was going to be like one of the most nightmarish things I could have ever thought about, and I say that so minimally in a sense that like I don't want to act like it's like the worst thing I could have ever gone through in my life, because I've gone through some pretty terrible shit, but like I'm like it. I didn't always have the best experiences in high school, and I also didn't think I knew that many people. And then when I got to this reunion, it like so many people came up to me, recognized me, talked to me, and I was like, wow, that's insane. And like it felt great. What I feel like could be improved in the future is maybe like it would be great that like more of the I don't think I would ever do this on my own accord unless I like had a better friendship with these people like growing up. But like a lot of the people that we went to high school with, like if we could have established a better friendship after this 10-year reunion, maybe having that to talk about in the 20-year reunion or 30-year reunion, whenever the fuck they decide to do the next reunion.
I don't think I'm going to another one, to be honest. I think I'm done.
glad I went to the 10-year, but
really?
like
yeah.
We can talk about that another time, but like I am glad that I got to go to this, but like again, not like so much that I'm gonna always shout at the moon about it, but like it was good. It was good. And I'm happy I went.
Yeah.
I'm glad I let Bree talk me into it, because like I feel like now looking back into it, I would have missed out on making a lot of really good connections that like could help me in my future.
I don't think I'll be going to another reunion, quite honestly, but I will say for anybody that's like thinking about going to your reunion, I think you should go. I really think it's like a once in a lifetime experience again. And like, again, if you hate it, you can leave. I would just rather you go and try it and see how it goes for you than not go at all. And I
Yeah.
feel like
Definitely.
I feel like that about like a lot of things in life. And that's how I talked myself into going like every single school dance. That was my mom's like biggest motto for me when I was in school, was she was like, listen, just go to the dance. We were paying for your ticket, whatever, like get dressed up, go to the dance.
Yeah.
And if you hate it, I will come and pick you up. Like, it's really not a big deal. I'm going to be home.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that she did that for me and that she taught me to live my life like that, because prom would have been hilarious if I didn't go, because I was prom princess, which was shocking. But I think that like for this, I was trying to give the two of you, Josh and Ryan, the same mentality, which I was like,
Yeah.
if we fucking hate it, we can leave. Like,
Yeah.
we have cars. All we have to do is just get there
Yeah.
and at least maybe eat some food and then get going. You guys could get a couple drinks. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
But like, I'm glad that I went, and I'm glad that I didn't skip out on that. Especially, I didn't think I was going to be living in this state at this point in my life. But like,
True.
I'm glad that I did go, even though I'm not the person that's raving about the experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think for me, you know, like I said, I feel mostly positive about it. I really do want to thank you for encouraging me so heavily to go.
Aw.
And I think the one thing, and I won't go on too long because, like I said, I've been pretty positive about it overall.
Yeah.
The one thing I would like to close with, though, regardless of the people I didn't know or the people I haven't seen in a long time, the one thing that I really did look back on 1, 2, 3 days later, even right now as you were just talking, is I got to like have a really nice night with you guys. Like, we got to take pictures. Like, we got to make a memory with friends that I have from high school still.
I agree.
And that's why I wish my other high school friends would have come.
Yeah.
That I'm still friends with to this day. But
It's
you know,
okay. We're prettier than them.
I mean, look, you know, but I just, I really did feel nice about that. Like, it was just it was a thing that we were able to do that wasn't just us hanging out, which I obviously love.
Yeah.
But like, it was a cool thing that we could have done. Like
It
I
was-
said,
it
we
was-
took the cool pictures and we had a nice memory.
Damn right. Ryan and I recreated
Yeah.
our prom picture. which
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
Like,
it
we
was
didn't go to
cool.
prom together, but like we took photos together at prom, and
It was
like we got
great.
to recreate them. I'll post them
Yeah.
on the Instagram for sure. You guys keep an eye out for that.
It was great to be able to actually go to that, and like, you know, all three of us would, I don't want to say we wouldn't have been great friends in high school, because I believe we would have been, but like, I think it's so funny to see that like we all went to the same high school, weren't really that great of, like, you know, we didn't like know the ins and outs of each other as much, and
That's true.
now like here we are at 28, 29 years old, and like we know so much about each other as it is, and it's like, who would have predicted that? You know,
Yeah.
it's so great. It's so great to be able to have that nowadays.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. Well, you guys, I feel like that's it. Don't you guys feel like that's good?
I
feel
do.
like we're good.
I feel like that was pretty good. Any closing remarks, babe?
I'm glad that you guys went. I'm super happy that the two of you went with me. I'm glad that I had the two of you there at the end of the day,
Same.
especially because I felt like I spent so much time by myself. But again, to anybody that's listening, like, please, 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 if
Go
you're,
to your reunion.
go to your reunion.
Yeah, man, just go.
Just go. Seriously. Whoa. Did you say that at the same time as me, or did I hear myself
We
back?
both did, and you know, Ryan and I being such avid, like we were so against going to our reunion. Like, we went and we didn't hate it,
And
No.
you won a Theragun.
and I won something there, and I thought that was so fucking cool.
Yep. And I will tell you, if you're thinking about pulling up to your high school reunion in a cool car, it's kind of worth it a little bit. It was only worth it because I drove by some people on the way out with my windows down, and then
Yeah.
they came over and talked to me, and I felt kind of cool because of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But anyways, you guys, seriously, yeah, if you're thinking about going to your reunion or you're thinking about going to anything, like, and you're not sure, just go, and you can always leave. You know what I mean? So
Oh, yeah,
anyways,
brother.
thank you guys so much for listening to URL versus IRL.
I
All
love
right.
you guys.
We love you guys.
We love you. Are you fucking kidding me? No way. All right. Talk to you soon on the next URL versus IRL.